Welcome to Chapter 4. Today we're going to be talking about stress and disease. I like this quote. We have evolved to be smart enough to make ourselves sick. Technology is a very large part of our lifestyle. If you think about if you're paying your own bills, how much money does it take to pay your cell phone bill every month? And to have Wi-Fi in our houses so we can use our computers. Having the right flat screen TV so we can get high definition. A lot of these things take a lot of money. And where does that put us? It puts us in a position where we need to be working full time, or for some families, 2 people working full time. And then this can lead to a lot of added stress, and even to the point where we make ourselves sick. Here's some stats for you. According to the American Institute of Stress, 43% of all adults suffer adverse health effects due to stress. 75 to 90% of all visits to the primary care physician are for stress-related complaints or disorders. And the association between stress and disease is huge. It's estimated that between 75 to 85% of all health-related problems are either precipitated or aggravated by stress. And then we get this term, psychoneuroimmunology, which really takes the fields of psychology, neurology, and immunology and puts them together to see how is stress related to disease. And what we find is it's real. The higher the stress, the higher the toll that it takes on our body. And in this field of psychoneuroimmunology, we find that stress seems to affect our immune system and our nervous system. And here's just some examples. When the immune system is depleted, we seem to get colds more often, flu, allergy, Crohn's disease, even cancer. Wounds seem to heal more slowly. We found that HIV and AIDS patients with high levels of cortisol seem to have more illness than others. So it's fine to say all that, but how do we know? Well, there's 2 aspects to consider. We have autonomic dysregulation. This is where the body is sensitive to perceived threats and it overreacts by speeding up the metabolic rate of one or more organs. And then we have immune dysregulation, where the functions of the immune system seem to be suppressed. So the thought here is that when the nervous system releases a bunch of stress hormones, several physiological repercussions can result, like migraines, ulcers, and hypertension. And then when the immune system is suppressed, it can cause infection like allergies and cancer. It's because the body's not able to fight against it because the immune system is suppressed. So just a reminder here, the immune system's purpose is to protect the body from pathogens, anything foreign that shouldn't be in the body. It can be external or outside the body, like bacteria or viruses internally, or even things that go wrong inside the body, like mutant cells. Just something doesn't happen correctly, in which our body seems to produce one every couple of hours, and then the immune system attacks it and gets rid of it. So the immune system is a network of several organs. Bone marrow supplies the lymph tissue with stem cells, and they become what we call B cells. The thyroid or thymus, the gland in the throat, turns stem cells into T cells. The lymph nodes, spleens, and tissues in the gut, this is where B and T cells occasionally stay until needed. The lines here are the lymphatic vessels. It's a whole different tubing system besides veins, arteries, and capillaries. So when the T and B cells are mature, they roam around the body looking for anything that they need to destroy. Actually, there's only 2% of the cells that roam, and the other 98 are on the defensive, and they stay in various organs. The T cells are out to find any cell that its structure doesn't match our own DNA, and if it doesn't match, it destroys it. This is great for cancer. It's getting rid of cancer cells, but it doesn't help someone who's had transplanted tissue, and that's the issue there. B cells release antibodies through the blood that fight and destroy anything that they see as a threat, mainly viruses and bacteria. So there's a couple different T cells in our bodies that work together to accomplish this mission. We've got our T cells we talked about. Helper cells, they ramp up production of antibodies. We have a suppressor. This T cell helps the other T cells not get out of control and take over. Sometimes it's possible that they would damage healthy tissue if there was too many. Natural killer cells, they destroy viruses, transplanted grafts, and they can detect cells that are just not right, and they destroy them. So when stress is increased or high, it increases the neuroendocrine hormone, which suppresses the immune system. This can lead to slow wound healing, we talked about before, and other things like impaired responses to vaccine. vaccines. So when the stress hormones are released, the B and T cells are less effective because not many of them are being released and they're not able to fight what they could easily before. So this means that the immune system is greatly influenced and compromised by emotional stress. So when the immune system is working normally, everything is in a state of homeostasis or in balance, and when it overreacts or underreacts, the thought is we can be at a predisposition for disease or illness. The nervous system also seems to be affected. You can see the list of related disorders here, and coronary heart disease is a big one of these. I actually have a YouTube video attached. This is also in the section for videos on Blackboard. This is a short video that'll show how stress helps to create an issue and can lead to coronary heart disease. What we've also found is that stress seems to precipitate type 2 diabetes. It doesn't cause it, but it can help influence it. The reason is that we find that stress seems to increase blood sugar levels, and the body does not work well when the blood sugar levels are high. Our body produces insulin, and insulin acts like a key to open up the cells in our body so the sugar can go in and give us energy. When we don't have people who are diabetic, for some reason are not producing enough insulin to unlock the cells in our body so the sugar can go in. So what happens is it stays in our bloodstream and can wreak havoc from many different reasons. It can cause vision problems. It can shred the part of the nerves in our body. This is where we get diabetic nerve pain that can happen anywhere in the body. So it's important that we don't have a lot of extra blood sugar in the body. If someone who's born with diabetes, their body does not produce any insulin at all, so they have to take insulin injections. Someone who has type 2 diabetes, it's typically because they are overweight, and when the body is overweight, it doesn't act right. It doesn't it actually slows down the production of insulin or stops it completely. So then either you have to manage it through diet, or you have to take insulin injections as well. Stress, yes, can cause emotional problems and help us to eat poorly and to gain weight, which can increase diabetes. But what we found is that stress can actually help us or precipitate the way that we store fat in our body. And here's the link to a YouTube video. This is actually the other video that's in the video links in Blackboard. And I just have the minutes here that it shows exactly the right spot on the information that we've learned about stress and how we store fat in our body. There's another area that the text talks about on why our body may have disease. So the Gerber model states that the mind consists of energy surrounding and permeating the body. Disease then is the disturbance in the human energy field, which cascades through the levels of subtle energy to make energy to the body by way of chakras and meridians. So here's a picture of a human energy fields, and if the energy fields are disturbed, then the thought is that we may have a physical problem. Now, I was a little leery about this one, to be honest with you, and I had a student say that he had saw something on TV about if you were hunting, that if you cannot get really close to turkeys when you're hunting, and somebody had made a suit that blocked the energy field, and you can go to this website if you want to, and you can actually see a guy in the suit getting really close to turkeys, just to kind of show that how this can be effective. So on a whole, subtle energy is a series of layers of energy that surround and permeate the body, thought to be associated with layers of consciousness constituting the human energy field. So subtle anatomy includes the human energy field, the chakra system, the meridian system of energetic pathways that supply energy, also known as chi, to the organs, and the physiological systems that they connect to. So the meridian system is a network of hundreds of interconnecting points throughout the body that allows for the passage of energy between the physical and the subtle bodies of the energy fields. And acupuncture is an ancient Chinese technique that uses tiny bulb-shaped needles to unblock the congestion at specific energy gates along the paths of subtle energy known as meridians, allowing for the free flow of energy. The chakra system is a part of this idea of subtle anatomy. The seven major chakras align from the crown of the head to the base of the spine and connect to various endocrine glands. And each major chakra is associated with various aspects of the mind, body, and spirit dynamic. And when a specific chakra is closed, it's thought to be distorted or congested, and the perception of stress and disease or illness will occur. You can see here that the crown chakra is for associated with spiritual growth. The brow chakra is for intuition, insights, and wisdom. The throat chakra has to do with communication, personal expression, creativity, purpose in life, and willpower. The heart chakra is about love or the ability to express love. The solar plexus with self-confidence, gut feelings like this just doesn't feel right. The sacral chakra, this is personal power in terms of business and social relationships, emotional feelings associated with sexuality and self-worth. And the root chakra is associated with issues of safety and security needs and feeling grounded. Here's a list for you so you can, if you need to see that. Now, the crown chakra for spiritual growth, Western culture or us, we don't easily recognize this idea of chakras, which is very common in Asian cultures, but we do understand this one a little easier, known in the Judeo-Christian culture as the halo. Pictures of Christ or saints sometimes are depicted with this halo or the highest level of consciousness. So there are a couple different thoughts here on how stress causes disease in the body, and whatever direction you go with, it really is important that we try to minimize the amount of stress, that we're not in a chronic state of stress all the time, and trying to reduce it if we can. I know sometimes in our life we feel like there's things out of our control that we can't help, but if we can give ourselves a bunch of tools, say in a toolbox, an imaginary toolbox that we can use when we are in these situations to try and calm ourselves down, give ourselves a diversion so we can stop the stress response so we're not in a chronic state of stress all the time. It is very helpful to our body so we don't get in a situation where we're causing disease to our body.